Have you ever wondered why, no matter how hard you try to hold things together, relationships, success, control, everything still seems to slip through your fingers? If so, this video is for you. Today, we will journey deep into one of the most powerful yet misunderstood teachings of the Buddha, the art of letting go. But this isn't about giving up, it's about waking up. It's about discovering a freedom that doesn't depend on what you have or who stays, but on how lightly you can hold the world without losing yourself in it. You uncover not only why letting go is the path to peace, but how to actually live that in your thoughts, your relationships, even your grief. This video is rich with stories, teachings, and practices that build one upon another. So I invite you watch until the very end. Every section is a step deeper into understanding. And if something speaks to you, don't just listen, leave a comment, share your reflection, and subscribe to the channel. These teachings are not mine, they belong to all of us. And perhaps today, they will find their way to the part of you that is finally ready to exhale and let go. Part 1. Understanding clinging. A young woman once came to me with eyes heavy from many nights of weeping. She sat quietly in a meditation hall, her shoulders hunched, her breath shallow. When I asked what weighed on her heart, she whispered, "I lost someone I loved. But it's not just the loss that hurts. It's that I don't know how to stop holding on." Her pain was not unique. In fact, it is one of the most common forms of suffering I have encountered. This aching grasp of the heart, wanting things to stay the same, to return, to never have left, is what the Buddha called tanha, or craving. We often think craving is only about wanting more. But sometimes, it's about not wanting to let go. In the teachings of the Blessed One, clinging lies at the very root of suffering. And it takes many forms: attachment to people, to objects, to outcomes, to our self-image, to the illusion of control. Like vines that wrap around a tree, these attachments slowly strangle the natural growth of peace. The Buddha used a beautiful metaphor. Imagine a man walking through a forest, carrying a heavy bundle of sticks on his back. He believes the bundle is precious, his memories, his identity, his plans. But as he grows tired, he refuses to set the bundle down. He says, "This is who I am." The more he clings, the more his suffering deepens. So it is with all of us. We hold on to what has already changed. We try to freeze moments, people, even emotions in time. But life is not a photograph. It is a river. And the more we resist its current, the more exhausted we become. The story of the young man who came to the monastery, grieving over lost love, is another reminder. When he asked why his sorrow would not leave him, I did not offer philosophy. I simply pointed to the tree beside us. Its leaves had begun to fall. "They do not cling," I said, "and yet the tree remains." Letting go does not mean forgetting. It means allowing life to move as it must. Clinging is like gripping a handful of sand. At first, you think you are holding it together, but as you tighten your grip, the grains spill through your fingers. What we think we are protecting, we are in fact pushing away. And yet, this does not mean we must sever ourselves from life or love. The Buddha did not ask us to stop loving. He asked us to love without attachment, to care without grasping, to experience life without demanding it remain unchanged. Begin with awareness. What is it that your heart clings to today? A past memory? A fear of what may come? An identity that no longer serves you? Sit quietly. Bring your attention to your breath. Let it rise and fall. Notice the thoughts that drift in. Do not chase them. Do not judge them. Let them come and let them go. This gentle act of observing is the first gate to liberation. In the beginning, you may feel resistance. That is natural. But with each breath, a little space opens inside you. And from that space, wisdom arises not as an idea, but as a lived experience. You begin to realize the self you defend is not fixed. The person you mourn is not truly gone. The life you feared to lose was never yours to possess. Everything is impermanent anexa. But that impermanence is not a curse. It is the path to freedom. So, we begin again. With each breath, with each moment of awareness, we practice releasing not to forget, but to be free. In this letting go, we do not lose anything real. We only release what was never truly ours to begin with. Part 2. The meaning of detachment. And so, after we begin to see clearly the weight of our clinging, the natural question arises, if letting go is the way to peace, then what replaces what we release? Do we not become empty, hollow, uncaring? No. What arises in the space once occupied by clinging is not indifference, it is detachment, and this too is often misunderstood. Many fear that detachment means withdrawing from life, becoming cold or indifferent. They think it means turning away from love, from passion, from purpose. But this is not the detachment of the Dhamma. True detachment is not a rejection of life, but a deeper embrace, one that does not need to possess, control, or define. To detach is not to abandon love. It is to love so deeply that you set the other free. It is to enjoy beauty without needing it to last. It is to act with all your heart, but without tying your worth to the results. This is the way the Buddha lived, not aloof, but awake. Let me offer you a picture. A farmer walks to his field each morning. He plants his seeds carefully, waters the soil, and removes the weeds. But he does not dig up the ground each day in impatience. He does not demand that the sprout arrive on his schedule. Instead, he trusts the earth, the rain, the sun. He works with diligence, but releases his attachment to outcome. That is wise detachment. And so it is in our own lives. We offer our love. We do our best. But we do not grasp at the results. If love is returned, we are grateful. If it is not, we do not collapse. If our efforts bear fruit, we rejoice. If they do not, we reflect and begin again. This is the serenity that arises when we no longer tie our joy to what is beyond our control. The Buddha once said, "You only lose what you cling to." And so we ask, what if we no longer clung? What if we care deeply, but not desperately? What if we move through life not as beggars of validation, but as givers of presence? In the Dhammapada, it is written, "From attachment springs grief, from attachment springs fear." For one who is wholly free from attachment, there is no grief, much less fear. What would your life look like without the grip of fear? Without the constant trembling of what if? It would not be empty, it would be still. It would be full in a different way. Not crowded with anxieties and outcomes, but spacious, like the open sky. Imagine you are sitting beside a river. The water flows, as it always does. It carries leaves and twigs, light and shadow. You do not leap into the water to chase every leaf. You simply watch. You breathe. You allow. And in this stillness, the river teaches you. Your thoughts, your cravings, your sorrows, they are all leaves. Let them pass. The current does not need your hands to move. And when the boat that is meant for you arrives, be it an opportunity, a person, a new chapter, you will be ready, not because you grasped for it, but because you waited in peace. This is the quiet power of detachment. It does not mean we feel less. It means we feel more purely, without fear, without demand. In detachment, we do not lose our humanity, we return to it. Part 3. Practicing detachment in daily life. And so, having understood what clinging is, then having seen the deep peace that detachment can offer, the question becomes, but how do I live this way in the midst of ordinary life? The answer is not in fleeing to the mountains or cutting ourselves off from the world. It lies, instead, in meeting each moment with gentle awareness and practicing small acts of letting go in the very places where attachment arises. For detachment is not a destination, it is a way of walking. We begin not with great gestures, but with small, conscious pauses. When anger arises, when someone offends us, misunderstands us, or does not meet our expectations, the mind immediately moves to defend, to strike, to speak. But here, detachment begins. You pause. You breathe. You do not suppress the anger, but you also do not let it own you. In this sacred pause, you choose your response. You ask, is this worth my peace? When desire arises, perhaps for praise, for recognition, for something new, we ask softly, can I be content without this? Not to deny yourself joy, but to remember that joy need not be purchased. Desire, when seen with clarity, often dissolves into stillness. And when loss arrives, as it always does, you let your tears fall. But you do not make a home in sorrow. You honor the pain without becoming it. You say, this too is part of the river. You hold your grief with compassion, but you do not cling to what cannot return. Here, the Noble Eightfold Path becomes more than doctrine, it becomes daily rhythm. Right view allows us to see impermanence not as punishment, but as nature. Right intention reminds us to let go with love, not resentment. Right effort urges us to cultivate thoughts that nourish peace rather than agitation. Every step on this path is a gentle training in freedom. Let me now offer you 3 practices, simple but deeply transformative ways to live detachment each day. 1. Mindful observation. In the early morning, before the noise of the world arrives, sit quietly. Let your eyes rest. Let your breath settle. For 5 minutes, just watch your thoughts. Do not push them away. Do not follow them. Let them rise like birds in the morning sky, and let them fly on. This teaches you that thoughts are not commands. They are clouds. They come, and they go. 2. Gratitude without clinging. At the end of your day, write down 3 things that brought you joy. A smile from a stranger. The way the sunlight fell through your window. The taste of warm tea. Then place your hand over your heart and say, I am grateful, and I release my need to hold on to these. Gratitude blossoms most fully when it is not afraid of loss. 3. Letting go ritual. When you feel stuck, when the heart grips tightly to a person, of fear, a wish, take a small object, perhaps a stone. Hold it. Feel its weight. Let it represent the thing you are attached to. Breathe with it in your palm. And when you are ready, set it down and say aloud, I release this with love. Simple gestures can retrain the heart. There is an old story. A woman came to the Buddha, grieving the death of her child. Her sorrow was unbearable, and she begged the Buddha to bring her child back to life. He did not speak against her grief. Instead, he said, bring me a mustard seed from any home that has never known loss. She traveled to many homes, knocking gently on every door. But each home shared its sorrow, a lost father, a departed sister, a vanished friend. She returned to the Buddha empty-handed, but no longer broken. For in hearing others' suffering, she saw the truth. Her pain was not punishment. It was part of being human. She let go not of her love, but of her insistence that love could stop death. And from that letting go, peace was born. Detachment is not the absence of feeling. It is the ability to hold joy and sorrow in the same breath, to love without chains, to act without needing applause, to rest in the middle of life's storm with a heart that says, I trust the unfolding. And so, with each breath, each moment, each small step, we practice. Part 4. Trusting the flow of life. When the mind has begun to unlearn its clinging, and the heart has tasted the quiet sweetness of detachment, there arises a subtle invitation to trust. Not trust in fate as a passive surrender, nor in destiny as a fixed script, but trust in the deeper wisdom of life itself. Trust that what is meant to come will come, not through force or anxiety, but through the openness we cultivate with presence. Trust that even what does not come has its own silent teaching. This is the final unfolding of the path, to live without grasping, and yet to live with great reverence. A relationship, an opportunity, a long-awaited answer. These things do not always arrive when we shout into the sky. More often, they arrive in the stillest when the hands are not clenched, when the heart is no longer begging, but simply ready. The lotus, one of Buddhism's deepest symbols, reminds us of this truth. It does not grow in pristine water, but in mud thick, dark, and unseen. And yet, from that soil, it rises. Its petals open to the sun, untainted by the dirt below. It is not removed from the world, but it is not bound by it. So too can we live. We engage fully, love courageously, work sincerely, but we do not anchor our peace in outcomes. Detachment, at its most luminous, is not a withdrawal from life. It is a deep allowing. To love without needing. To serve without controlling. To witness change without fear. In this space, life flows through us, not against us. And the more we release our grip, the more life becomes an offering, not a struggle. Let us now enter the heart of practice, not as an escape, but as a return. Sit comfortably, in a place where your body can soften. Let your eyes close. Take a long, gentle breath in, and slowly breathe out. Again, breathe in, and breathe out. Feel your chest rise and fall, like a wave returning to the ocean. Now, in the center of your chest, imagine a small, golden light. It is warm. It is steady. With each breath, let this light expand down your arms, into your hands, across your shoulders, into your belly. This is the light of trust. The light of surrender. Now, bring into your mind something you've been clinging to. A thought. A person. A hope. See it gently resting in your open palm, like a delicate leaf. You do not crush it. You do not throw it away. You simply open your hand, and a leaf begins to drift on the wind. No struggle, just release. And in your heart, whisper silently, I trust. I let go. I trust. I let go. Let this phrase ripple through your body like a quiet river. Feel the peace that comes when you stop fighting the flow. Rest here for a moment longer, breathing, trusting, allowing. When you are ready, slowly open your eyes. Carry this stillness with you, not as something to achieve, but as something already within you. Trust does not come from the world proving itself. It comes from you choosing peace, again and again. Part 5. Detachment in relationships, loving without possession. One of the most difficult places to practice detachment is in our relationships. It is easy to let go of a thought or a passing desire. But what about a person we love? What about a child, a partner, a parent, a friend? Here, the heart trembles. And yet, it is here that the practice becomes most meaningful. Love, when mixed with clinging, becomes burden. We say, "You are mine." We demand, "Stay the same." We fear, "Don't leave me." But true love is never ownership. True love is spacious. It gives wings, not chains. A mother once came to me, heartbroken. Her daughter, now grown, had chosen a different path, one that the mother did not understand. "She used to come to me for everything," the woman said, tears in her eyes. "Now, she doesn't need me." I listened quietly, then said, "Your love gave her strength. Can you now love her enough to let her walk without your shadow?" In the same way, many couples come to me saying, "We love each other, but we are hurting each other." I tell them, examine not your love, but your attachment. Are you loving the person or your image of who they should be? Are you supporting their freedom or guarding them like a possession? When we confuse control for love, pain is inevitable. The Buddha did not reject love. He simply showed us how to love without suffering. Mental loving kindness is not built on need, but on the wish for another's well-being, regardless of what they give us in return. This love is not less intense. In fact, it is more profound, because it asks for nothing and yet gives everything. Consider the full moon. It shines over the ocean, over mountains, over strangers and lovers alike. It asks no one to claim it. It simply shines. In your relationships, can you be like the moon, steady, radiant, and free? There is a deep paradox here. The more you try to hold on to someone, the more they slip away. The more space you give them to be themselves, the more they often return, not out of obligation, but out of love. And even when people leave us through time, distance, or death, true love remains. But clinging must go. Otherwise, love turns into sorrow that never ends. So we practice gently. When your child walks away from you with confidence, do not chase. Smile. They carry your love in their breath. When your partner forgets to meet your needs, pause. Ask not, "Why didn't they love me better?" Ask instead, "Can I love myself in this moment?" When a loved one passes away, do not say, "They are gone." Say instead, "Their presence now lives in my peace." Let us try this reflection together. Bring to mind someone you love deeply. Picture them in your heart. Say silently, "I love you. I release you. You are free." Breathe it. Feel what arises. There may be sorrow. There may be peace. Hold both gently. This is how we love without possession. As Ajahn Chah once said, "If you let go a little, you'll have a little peace. If you let go a lot, you'll have a lot of peace." And sometimes, letting go is the most loving act of all. Part 6. The Paradox of Letting Go, Receiving More by Needing Less. There is a quiet truth that many only discover late in life. The more you let go, the more life gives you in return. It seems like a contradiction, doesn't it? We are taught to chase, to strive, to grasp tightly. We believe happiness is earned by holding on. But the Dhamma shows us otherwise. Letting go is not losing. It is opening. When you let go of control, you gain serenity. When you release expectations, you discover freedom. When you stop demanding love, you find it flows to you more naturally. This is the paradox that confuses the world but liberates the wise. A wealthy man once visited a forest monastery. He came in silk robes, carrying gifts, and asked the abbot, "What must I do to find peace?" The abbot smiled and said, "Drop the bundle. The man looked at his hands. "But I'm not holding anything," he replied. "Then drop the one you carry in your mind," the abbot said. How many of us are carrying unseen burdens? Grudges from years ago. Regrets that live like shadows. Dreams that no longer serve us. We carry so much, and then wonder why we are tired. The great letting go is not always visible. Sometimes it happens silently, within. And here is what is so beautiful. The moment you put the burden down, your hands are open again. To receive joy. To hold peace. To touch life fully. When you let go of the need to be understood, you become more compassionate. When you let go of the desire to impress, you become authentic. When you let go of who you think you should be, you become who you truly are. Imagine walking through a field. You are carrying a heavy bag filled with every should, every past mistake, every fear of the future. Now, stop. Place the bag on the ground. Feel the weight leave your shoulders. Feel the lightness in your breath. And notice the world did not collapse. In fact, it just became more spacious. Let's try this now. Sit quietly. Place your hands, palms up, on your knees. Breathe deeply. Now, silently name something you've been trying to control, a relationship, a situation, even your own feelings. Picture it as a flame in your hand. Warm, flickering, but not yours to hold. Now, gently exhale, and let the flame rise into the sky. Say to yourself, "I do not need to hold this. Life is wiser than my plans. I receive what remains." This is not giving up. This is giving in into the flow of the Dharma. Into the trust that when we need less, we see more. When we cling less, we love more. And when we stop grasping, we begin to live. Letting go is not the end of anything. It is the beginning of everything real. And now, dear friend, we have walked together through the landscapes of clinging and the stillness of letting go. From understanding craving to practicing detachment, from loving without possession to trusting the silent flow of life, we have not merely studied the teachings, we have touched them with our breath, with our reflection, with our heart. If there is one truth I wish to leave with you, it is this: you do not need to hold everything to live fully. In fact, the more you let go, the more fully life will hold you. Letting go is not a one-time act. It is a rhythm. Like the ocean's tide. Like your own breath. Inhale, open. Exhale, release. Again and again, gently, with compassion. And if today's words stirred something in you, if they reminded you of the strength hidden beneath surrender, of a peace that lives beneath your worries, then may I invite you to continue walking this path with me? If this teaching brought light to your day, please click like, and if you wish to receive more gentle reflections on the Dharma and the art of inner freedom, I welcome you to subscribe to the channel. Your presence here is no small thing, it ripples outward, like a pebble in a still pond. Share this video with someone who may need to hear that they do not have to carry it all anymore. Sometimes, a single phrase, a quiet teaching, a moment of silence, can be the beginning of healing. And until we meet again in another teaching, may you walk gently, breathe deeply, and let go again, and again, and again. The lotus blooms not because it holds the water, but because it lets it go.